She's come all the way from across the Mediterranean Sea, from Israel. Please welcome here Yael Tamar, the CEO at Solid Block, who will enlighten us on how blockchain technology is revolutionizing industries through joint ownership, non-fungible tokens, also known as NFTs, and the Metaverse. This session will inspire us to envision the limitless possibilities of blockchain beyond cryptocurrencies. Ladies and gentlemen, please make a round of applause for Yael Tamar taking this stage. Yael, the floor is yours.
Hi everybody, how's everybody doing? It's almost lunchtime, so we're gonna make it super quick. So let's talk about just general digital transformation and how it applies to our everyday life, right? So these logos behind me, they show how everything has changed in moving us from the real life where we are right now. I'm very happy I actually see real people today and not a video screen, to the digital and how ownership changes as well, right? So there is the largest media news network that doesn't have any newspapers, right? Facebook. You have the largest hotel in the world that doesn't own any real estate, which is Airbnb. You have the largest store network, retailer that doesn't have any shops in Alibaba. You have the largest transportation company, well, maybe one of the largest, right? Which doesn't own any taxis. And you have the largest bank that doesn't own any branches, right? So you can already kind of guess where this is going. So about myself, I have a financial capital markets background. My first job was at a broker-dealer on Wall Street, moved to private equity, real estate, VCs, and then hedge funds, and then moved to the other side, to the blockchain side, and worked with many ICOs in 2017 as a strategic marketing consultant, and then joined Solid Block, which I co-founded with my partner, Yuval Ritzberger, and which now has also entered a new stage by acquiring a broker-dealer. So, what we're going to be talking today, I want to go back to the basics, even though I'm pretty sure that everybody here has heard of Web3 and beyond. But I want to go to the basics because I think it's important for understanding of the significance of where we're going in terms of business and having ideas for traditional businesses that will be able to move into this new world and make a lot of money in the process, right? So we're always talking about this FOMO of, you know, had I known to invest in Bitcoin back in 2011, had I known to invest in .com after the crash and not before, right? So things like that. So let's look at the specific industry, which is real estate, through the lens of web transformation. So Web 0, you know, back in the 90s, right? You used to go into, you know, read in the newspaper, you get an advertisement, and you go to all these houses to take a look at them before you buy them. Literally walk in the house, which nobody does today, it seems like, and look at it, and there's a bunch of other people, and you're anxious whether or not you're gonna get it, right? That's Web 0. Then in the 2000s, you got Web 1, which is Craigslist, for example. Basically, a version of a newspaper, but online. You can type in an address, you get the version of the house. You still have to go to the house, and you still have to buy it, right? Then you get Web 2, which is kind of cool. It's application, it's easier, it's on your phone. Now you have some interactivity. You can, you know, walk through, you can actually start investing, right? These are all crowdfunding companies. You start investing through an application. How exciting, right? Now we're going into the age of Web 3, which adds another dimension. I look at this as dimensions. 0 dimension, 1 dimension, 2 dimension, 3, and there might be even more, right, in the future. 4th dimension, 5th dimension. So what's the 3rd dimension? So now that we've gotten so digital, you know, thanks to COVID-19, we no longer think that just, let's say, this two-dimensional Web 2, even though it's interactive, is enough for us, because we actually want to feel, we want to hear, we want to participate. So we have the Metaverse as the next iteration, where it's basically a simulation of an experience. You can buy space in the Metaverse. It's just like early Facebook or early Twitter, where you could get a very good hashtag or start a new page. You can buy plot in the Metaverse, and you can rent. You can basically buy real estate. Several cities in the U.S. now, like Miami, for example, offers this experience of actually buying a home after walking through a neighborhood in the Metaverse, right? So that's what it is. Now, I also want to go back to the basics on this, and it's a graph that represents the difference, or how Web3 is actually related to blockchain, right? Because a lot of people are asking, what's the difference? And it's interchangeable, right? So first and foremost, blockchain is the base of this whole ecosystem, right? The base of the infrastructure. So there's 3 layers in infrastructure. There's blockchain on the bottom, there's smart contracts, which is basically a basic software tool for enabling decentralization, and on top of that you have various digital assets, right, that everybody is familiar with. The first of them was Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then you went into different alternative coins, altcoins, and NFTs, right? So all of that is an infrastructure. Now on top of that we have the Web3, which is basically an application layer for various things, consumer applications, business applications, and so on, that you can build on top of this infrastructure, in the bottom of which there's blockchain. Right? There's different ways to graph it out. That's basically my version that helps me understand this a little better. So the Web3 applications range from financial, which is obviously the organizer of this conference. Mercuryo plays a big role in enabling different banking services, right? Connect them to crypto. You have gaming, of course. You have VR, AR, and Metaverse applications. Oh, I have it here. That's good. You have NFTs, where you can basically start working on digital rights for various types of assets. And then you have consumer applications and social applications. You have blogging, you have podcasts, you have basically decentralized social apps. Now, blockchain has affected a lot of industries, and we don't hear about this because most of this so far has been in the B2B world, in behind the scenes. You have applications from supply chain to medical to land registries to in real estate to energy and cloud. There's lots and lots of companies that have employed blockchain. We don't even know about this. It's not, because we are the consumers of the final application. Now, I'll give you a couple of examples of blockchain in real estate, but again, we're talking more about the general application of blockchain through the lens of this industry, which is the industry where I'm working. So we'll talk about Metaverse, NFTs, land registry, and fractional ownership. Let's start with fractional ownership. So just as we are familiar with tokens that represent some sort of a platform right, utility tokens, you actually can apply the same tokens in the securities space. Securities are different from, let's say, coins and utilities, because they usually represent a stake in an actual business or an asset, right? So this is just economic right in an asset. And this is what you are buying every day if you are on Interactive Brokers or Robinhood or any sort. If you invested in pension funds, right? If you have a pension anywhere, usually a large portion of it is invested in public securities. But what we are doing at Solidblock is helping to trade private securities before they go public. So what we do is we issue a security token that is representing the right in a property, so dividends or interest based, and we're enabling individuals or companies or investors to trade that, right? So that's what we do, starting with the first ever use case of a St. Regis Aspen ski resort. And that's basically the first use case. You can do this for any company, any startup, any business, right? And the beauty of this is that it's an alternative for any company that doesn't want to go public eventually, right? So it solves a big problem in the world. The second use case is land registry. Very, very difficult to register real estate, and it's similar in other industries where you have registration like cars and motorcycles and boats and whatnot, right? You usually have like a centralized agency that employs a lot of intermediaries, and it's a very difficult and long process and costs you a lot of money because lawyers and brokers, insurance, they cost a lot. And instead, there's several places in the world that employ blockchain, and this is one of the best use cases of blockchain, to validate between different agencies that all have to come and have this database, right? That has names of people that own real estate, insurance companies, contracts, and everything else. So this is the land registry in Dubai. And as you can see, there's a timer on the wall. I guess you can't really see, but you see a stamp for every single action that was taken on the site. So when there's a sale between one party to the other, you have to upload a lot of information, you have to get it reviewed. So all of that is stamped on the right. You can see the property being transferred from one person to another after the money has been received in an escrow account, right? So this is a very convenient system, and it's governed by the local property companies. They act as a node for this registry. So let's talk about NFTs. There's lots of use cases of NFTs that include some sort of a utility in them. That's the most popular type of NFTs today. So this can be applied to real estate, as we've done. And I'll talk about that use case in a minute. But generally, you have obviously digital music, you have luxury goods, you have, of course, tickets, concert tickets, and so on. You even have airplane tickets now for major airline companies. Of course, gaming assets is one of the biggest use cases for NFT. There's domain names. I bought Yael Tamar at XYZ, put that on chain, and you have virtual real estate, right? As we said, you can buy a plot of land in the Metaverse, and that is an NFT. You can sell it on OpenSea, you can sell it on other marketplaces. So what we did, I think last year, was NFT days. We just put discount codes. And our goal, by the way, in general, I've done digital transformation now several times. So when we went from Web 1 to Web 2, and now Web 2 to Web 3, it's a big opportunity because you can offer existing businesses a way to participate in the new transformation, right? So in the Web 2 world, many, many companies operate with gift cards and discount codes. So, and they have no interest in going full NFT or going full Web 3, but they're interested in this connection. So what we did, we took discount codes that you can put on any website, in hotels.com, or you can put it on Airbnb, or you can just put it through a registration website for a specific hotel. We put that in an NFT, and enabled these hotels to sell those NFTs on OpenSea, and the buyer could redeem the NFT for the actual discount code. Then they can go and plug into a Web 2 environment, right? So that's the important, if anything stays here after this lecture, is basically the importance of working with like existing platforms and existing worlds, right? And moving slowly into the new regime. So this was successful. There's a bunch of other companies like Marriott that did similar things. And in general, I think there's a big opportunity in terms of use of space. The Metaverse is kind of cool because it allows, again, existing businesses that don't have, let's say, they have seasonality maybe even, right? You have, let's say, in the winter in Cyprus, you may not have as many tourists. So what are you going to do? You can probably do some sort of virtual events, right? Because people already know a certain brand, a certain park, and so on and so forth. And a lot of people are participating now in virtual environments. So that's happening already. That's happening already mainly in gaming, right? So in gaming, for example, let's look at Roblox, right? A huge gaming environment. I think it's slightly outdated. It's now maybe double that. But they have a huge number of users, probably maybe 50 now, daily, right? People spend on average 2 hours a day. Their virtual currency has now, I probably reached $1 billion, I would say, right, dollars. And there's some examples of what people sold on that platform. There was a virtual Gucci bag. Somebody actually cashed out $4,000 to buy a virtual Gucci bag, which is more expensive than the actual Gucci bag of some kind. What I really liked were the concerts, because there's some artists that are so popular that actually they'll gather people that will pay to attend a virtual concert. And you can Google it on or YouTube it, and look. There's nice CGI effects, but it's basically a video for an hour and a half of an artist singing with a cartoon background, right? So we had 33 people attend, Lil Nas, and 45 Travis Scott, right? And of course, there's advertising opportunities and things in the middle that are just as good, possibly, as the real thing, right? You have people's eyes on the screen, you get all the same type of products. So this is kind of a new type of entertainment, right? And people bought tickets through an NFT. And if you didn't attend, you can resell. You can use this NFT as a proof attendance, of course, right? And the beauty of these NFTs is that now you have a digital tool that you can connect, again, to those sponsors, to give perks, to give gifts, to give anything, right? So that's the beauty. Instead of just buying a regular paper ticket that you cannot use anywhere, right? So I hear that there's different initiatives in universities, University of Nicosia, to do some degrees or certificates as NFTs, and so you're able to use that again as a proof of attendance and even in the job and so on, right? So we already talked about the NFTs, but the craziest things is Republic Realm, for example, a while ago bought, and somebody forgot to translate that in Hebrew, but I wonder if anybody in the audience can read. Anyway, they bought 900,000 worth of land in Decentraland, and later on I met someone who bought a Canadian company, a public company that bought $2.5 million worth of land in the Metaverse, right? So that's pretty crazy, I would say, because you could buy several luxury homes in Cyprus for that, right? But they believe that would go up in value. It ended up going down in value tremendously, but we'll see how it goes. Event tickets, obvious, right? Snoop Dogg. I went to Snoop Dogg's party in the Metaverse. Nothing to write home about. And finally, the educational apps. This actually does blow my mind, because this is really, really interesting. And I don't know if universities will really exist in the future, except maybe for research purposes, because you can learn anything anywhere in a decentralized manner, maybe from people that have actually done things that you want to learn. So check out different applications that employ amazing tools in the Metaverse, or blockchain and NFTs and so on. And this is myself with my email and WhatsApp, and I'm on Telegram too, I think, at Yael Tamar, or same number, and Twitter at Yael Tamar, LinkedIn, and so on. I would love for you guys to connect with me. At Solid Block, we're now going into a new era where we're distributing private securities globally, and hopefully you guys will all be able to buy a piece of a real estate asset, or maybe even a pre-IPO company, create portfolios and so on through our platform. So I don't think we have time for questions, but I am available on any platform on the internet for questions.